So Saturday Stories is our monthly program, and we invite illustrators, renowned, acclaimed, award-winning like Frank, multi-award-winning like Frank. And, you know, this is actually a new format for us because we can't do this live in the museum because of the pandemic. And actually, we are a very small museum. We're located on East 63rd Street in the Society of Illustrators building. And we usually have about 25 families who join us live. So we can't do a very large audience because of the capacity that the museum is able to hold. But the beautiful thing about Zoom is not only can we visit illustrators in their own studios, but we can visit illustrators who are located far from Manhattan, and people who might be very busy, like Frank, who's got many books that he's presenting, launching, and talking about, like this beautiful book, Respect, about the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin. And this was written by a writer who Frank works with often, and her name is Carol Boston Weatherford, and she's award-winning as well. So they're a very good team, award-winning team. And her rhythmic words are beautifully matched by Frank's rhythmic illustrations. As you see, he has a lot of vibrancy, movement, and expression in his work, as well as gorgeous color, representation of people. And we'll learn more about that in just a moment. I'm going to thank the Bruce J. Heim Foundation once again for bringing us our webinar Zoom series for free to our participants, who are joining us also from all over the globe. So in past programs, we've had people all the way from Singapore, Philippines, Korea, Poland, France, England, Australia, you know, got them from all over. Some people, it's late for them, so they may just join us for a short period and then watch the recording at a later time. So welcome everybody. You can see more programs and events that we have on offer at the Society of Illustrators website at your service, and also on our Society of Illustrators Kids portion of the website, where you'll also find Frank again. He's in our Meet an Illustrator section there, and he's offered some coloring pages on our website. But also, if you've registered for this program, did you find your illustration printouts? Because if you didn't get to those, they will be in the chat. Joining us behind the scenes is Katie, our graphic designer at Society of Illustrators, and she's going to be typing in some things that you might need to know as far as the website address or some coloring page information. Frank's website is very worthwhile visiting, and any videos that you might watch about him, there's one from Abrams, the publisher, and that's got his latest book on there. So I recommend looking up more information about Frank. It's all worth diving into. So Frank is a very interesting person. Born in Massachusetts, raised in New Jersey, started his teenage life as a break dancer and graffiti artist, became very acclaimed for both of those, was on television, many shows, and then went to France, which is a beautiful city where there's a lot of art and an amazing museum called the Louvre. Some of you may have visited. And he was very much inspired by that, a visit to that museum in particular, and came back to Manhattan, started visiting more museums and being inspired by all the art that he saw, and launched his career as a fine artist, and also now a children's picture book illustrator as well, which brings us all his illustrations in books, which is not, you know, it's not always easy to see original art and go to galleries. So you get to see all his art printed and can purchase or get a book from a library. You can see all his work in the book. So I'm going to hand over to Frank now, who's going to do a lovely presentation of behind the scenes. And over to you, Frank. It's such a pleasure to have you today.
Oh, thanks for having me. Thanks for having me. And good morning. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, students, collectors, parents, everyone. Good morning. Hey, I want to tell you guys a little bit about myself. Yes, I'm Frank Morrison. Before we start the presentation, I'll give you a little background about who I am and what I've done. I know it's for all those that are joining me from New Jersey that went to school or what's up, Academy High School. I started out, it's kind of weird, I grew up in the 80s. So in the 80s was different. Y'all know how it was. I got KRS-One playing right now. and the whole nine. But I grew up in a time when, y'all know, we didn't have, this was post video games. This is when you didn't have Atari. You know what I'm saying? You didn't have, we didn't have, what was that? If you was really rich, you had ColecoVision. Y'all know what I'm talking about, ColecoVision, right? So I grew up not having any of that stuff. We did get, later on, we did get Mario Brothers. So we did get the, I think that was Nintendo. But anyway, so what we had to do back in those days is we had to do things like, anybody know what go outside and play mean? We had to do that kind of stuff. Go outside and play. We did what we did. While we was out there, you played tag, you ran, you did, if girls was jumping rope, you know, the double dutch, a bit of it, test it up. You know, the guys would do that, and then they would chase us so we get their attention and the whole nine. So we did things that were more athletic. Like we would do things like we'd see who the fastest runner was. Now you see people running, you ready like, where the cops? Where they at? Where they going? But we used to run. We used to run up the block, see who the first fastest was. And then next thing you know, something came over called like hip hop over the radio. And I remember the first time I ever heard a hip hop song. I was in my grandmother's backyard, and I was getting water from the hose. It was crazy because you couldn't get, water must have been expensive back then because you couldn't get some water from the hose. They were like, turn that water off. It's like, it's going to cost $5,000. You got water from the hose, right? So anyway, I get water from the hose and had my little radio, little small radio, whatever. And something came over and said, 2 years ago, a friend of mine asked me to say this to MC Ron. I was like, what? My brother and I look at each other, what is this? What is this? It's like an alien came down. It was blown by earlobes. I was like, what is this song? And then right after that, Planet Rock came on. And we was done. We was done. We was just like, okay, we had to know more about this music. Up until that, now you listen to Bobby Womack, you listen to the Temptations, you listen to everything your father or your mother put on the radio. You couldn't even touch, you know, back in the day, you couldn't touch the radio. That was some, or the stereo. It was almost like if you touched it, your hands get dirty or something. I don't know what it was, but you couldn't touch that stuff. But either way, I grew up with that hip hop. And then next you know, people started bringing out cardboard boxes and breaking them up. And we started breakdancing and all that kind of stuff. And I was like, oh, wow. Breakdancing and popping and all that. I couldn't get the windmill. I'm not going to lie. I don't know how the hell it was. Windmill, I couldn't do it. I couldn't get my legs to go up and do it. So anyway, I was a popper. So I used to pop and lock and all that stuff. You know, I'm not good. Justin Boer know how to do it really good. He an old man still popping like that. This guy. Anyway, I go like this. I was like that. I pass it to somebody. Anyway, so that's what we did. But then somebody came out of the blue with the marker and some spray paint, and they started getting on the board because you had your dress, you had the gazelles and all that stuff. But they started doing something called. They did like a character real quick. It was a Smurf, and he had like gazelles on, and then he put these bubble letters next to him on the board, and he was like, "Yo, what's that? This guy, what is this?" It was graffiti, and that's my first introduction to graffiti. They was writing on there, believe it or not, they was writing on the cardboard, and so that's how I was introduced to graffiti. And then we used to do the letters. Our letters back in the day. I'm not gonna lie. I do write with some crews. Right now, I write with FSA, that means Family Stand Alone. I write with Chaos, and I write with a crew, PFP. I want to shout out to my, but don't get mad at me. I'm saying all this, but don't get mad at me. Y'all know I can get down. But this is how we used to do our letters back in the day. Y'all ready? Y'all want to see something corny? Because we got so much time out here with me for a while, so y'all gonna have to put up with it. Yeah, welcome to my neighborhood. I'm shaking my paint marker up. You gotta shake it up a little. Come on, marker. So anyway, we used to do our letters back in the day. It was not like how intricate they are right now. They were more bubbled and swervy. Here she comes. It is. Gotta wait for that pink to get in there. Ain't that something? She's in there now. So I'm gonna write. You ready? 1, 2, 3. This is quick. Now everybody had a name back in those days. My name was Quan. Yes, Quan. I think I was Quan. smooth up, whatever. On my Q, U, A, and y'all tell me if this ain't fresh. Y'all ready? That's how I used to write back in the day.
Nice.
Real corny. This back in the early 80s. That was like hardcore. Then you put your little, what's the name on top of that? You put your little blend on there. Put a blend on there real quick. Blend on there real quick. Put your blend on. Let's go. And you just fade it down. So you just fade it like this. Something really corny, right? But that's how I started out writing. Then you put a little character on there on the side. That's how I started writing. But what was weird was like, back then, it wasn't about how much money you had, because we were pretty much all broke. No one really had any money. I didn't live in those rich neighborhoods. Pretty much, it was fast at running. You was known as the fastest running. Everybody would get up in the morning and try to beat you. This guy named Mark Baskin, I don't know how this man could float on air, because I thought I was fast, but he could float. I was like, man, how you running that fast? Like, man, they can't catch you for nothing. He never even needed a car. I don't think he drive now. He can run wherever he's going. Either way, so he did that kind of stuff. But I was good at writing and doing graffiti. And I could draw, because I used to draw comics all the time. So I was just good at that kind of stuff. And so that's a little bit of how I started. And then I went from dancing for hip hop. Believe it or not, I started dancing hip hop. So I used to do, break dancing and all that stuff. And then something else came along. Y'all remember Queen Latifah? She did that song. It's like house music. That house music came in. Girl, I'll house you, Jungle Brothers, and all that kind of stuff. So, oh my gosh, now we up there starting to now house dance. House dance came in like, I think it was like the late 80s. And it was kind of crazy, because what we would do is we go to parties, and most people back in the day, you tell your dad, your mom, you go to a party, and they're like, well, what girl did you meet? I'm like, meet a girl? What are you talking about? We went there to dance. They're like, well, did you meet anybody? You're like, no, we went to dance. Then you'd be like, then they look at you kind of like, what you was doing up in there? Dancing? Just dancing? You didn't see anybody else? Well, we used to go in there, and we used to make a circle back in the day, and we would all battle each other. So if you was a house dancer, you had some house moves. So you would just do your moves. If so I had a crew, this guy named Hype, Chris Jenkins, I used to dance with. And so what we would do is we would go all around New Jersey, go around New York or whatever, and we would go dancing. Then I used to dance with this other guy named Chris Ronkowitz, Sean Wolf. We on my brother and go around and everything. Meet kids like Ejo and Brian and all these guys that could dance their behinds off. If you guys want to see a little bit of that, there's a program called Summer Dance Forever. They still doing the same dances we used to do back in the day. Summer Dance Forever. But anyway, so we used to go to them clubs and we used to battle each other. So you get really good. You do what you had to do. But we was in New Brunswick, New Jersey, right? And we doing this battle. Me and my boy, we out there, we killing it. We thinking we got a routine, because we would incorporate like Big Daddy Kane, Scoop and Scrap stuff into our routine. We would do all kind of little things, right? And so we lost the battle. And I was like, dang, we lost. And we in New Brunswick, we not far from my house and lost. It was the first time we ever lost something. And then this guy walks up to us and he's like, listen, I saw what you guys was doing out there and I love it. I killed it out there. Y'all see that word a lot. I killed it. But either way, he said, listen, try to audition for something. I was like, who, because you meet people in the club. He's an older guy. He was older. He was like 27. We were teenagers. So anyway, make a long story short, he wants to audition for Sybil. Sybil had a hit out at that time. It was like, Don't Make Me Over. And we was like, okay, let's go ahead. And it was up in Hackensack, New Jersey. We had to go audition, and I told my mom what I was doing, and she really didn't. I don't think she paid attention to it. I was like, I'm going to go audition. She's like, okay, whatever. So we go out there, and you have these kind of moms. Chris Jenkins' mom was one of those moms that she would give us the car. She give us she let us spend the night. She was one of them. She was really cool, church lady too, but she hear it was really free. she's all about letting us explore our artistic abilities. I'll put it that way. So anyway, make a long story short, we go out there, we audition, right? We audition, we're hyping up, put a makeshift team together, and we go out there and audition. We audition for Sybil. Sybil loves it. And then we start dancing for Sybil. And if you guys want to Google her name, Sybil, Don't Make Me Over. She had Walk On By. She had a lot of hits.
Yeah.
Right? And so next thing you know, we dancing for Sybil. And we're dancing all around the United States. We're dancing in Texas. We're dancing, we're going on tour. We're doing all this and that. And we end up, she had, I think that album went plateau. I think it went on platinum or something like that song. Something, I think it went gold or something. So we went to the parties and we met so many people. Salt and Pepper was a label mate. We was dancing with, but it was kind of weird. We never really was into the performer. Like we knew special ed, but we was cool with special ed dancers, right? So we was cool with them. We went to Rap Mania, we did Rap Mania, we did all this kind of stuff. But, you know, we did a concert with this cat named Guy. Y'all know who Guy is? What was the song they had out? You know who's right? I know they have a bunch of songs. All right, I forgot. I can't hear him. So anyway, we danced with God, and we're in Washington. We're in Washington, right? And New Jack Swing and all that stuff was out at that time. We're in Washington. We performed with them, and this is the first time we performed. Because, you know, you're doing nightclubs. You're performing with maybe like, I don't know, like 100, 300 people. Now we on stage with God, and literally we're out there, and there's thousands of people in the audience. And we're like, oh my gosh, it's a stadium, and it's packed. And we go out there and killed it. We did our thing, you know, did our little routine or whatever. And then next you know what happens. We go back to the hotel, and we chilling, you know, whatever. We walk by, because back then, you know, you going back to the hotel, you got to act like you really stuck up. So you walking out, you know, from the show with your, you have a towel around your neck. You go back to your hotel, and then you try to ignore people, act like you super fly, fresh, whatever. And then we get to the hotel room, me and my room. And we like, yo, it must be some shorties. Must be some girls or something, right? It was our road manager. Now, Bashir was our road manager. This guy was the worst. He was like, oh my gosh, he's cool though. But he was the hardest guy. He was like your uncle that don't play. That's who Bashir is. So when he knocked on the door, we thought it was on some, we did something wrong. He was like, no. He's like, guys, guess what? They want y'all in Paris. They want y'all to perform in Paris. I'm like, Paris? What are you talking about? Paris. They want us to go to Paris. I'm thinking Paris, Texas. And he was like, no, Paris, France. And that's how I ended up going to Paris. But before I could go there, it was like everybody in school right now understands what it, you know, understands what it's, if it's in November, it's like Christmas time, December. Y'all know y'all were getting ready for Christmas break. Like by the 3rd of the month, everybody's pretty much anxious. Whatever. We arrived before. We were going to be there for 3 weeks. So we had a 2-week vacation anyway from Christmas. So we had to go and make sure it was okay for us to leave out to go on tour. We had to make approval from our teacher, our principal had to approve it. So my road manager, Bashir, the tough guy, had to come up there to my school and make sure it was all right. And my parents were sitting there, and my teachers, I had to go to each teacher and ask them if it was okay. So I went to my math teacher. She was like, go, have a great time. Bring back a souvenir. Science, go, have a great time, Frank. Do your thing. What? This boy signed this autograph. Could you sign this piece of paper? I was like, oh, yeah, what? So anyway, I signed it, and I go to my socials. I even go to the lunch lady. Lunch lady's like, well, you know what? Bon appetit. I was like, okay, all right, I'm out of here. And I ain't got to worry about going to my art teacher because she's Miss Moore, and she's my first African-American teacher, so I already know what she's going to say, so I'm going to the last day. I said yes, and I said, Miss Moore, guess what I'm doing? I'll be in Paris for 3 weeks. She said, well, I don't think so. I said, what you mean? I said, well, what are you talking about? Well, if you go, you're going to have a homework assignment. I have to give you something to do while you're there. I said, are you out your, what kind of world are we living in where you, my soul sister teacher, could actually tell me that, no, did you just tell, I'm Frank Moore, did you see the video? You ain't see the video? She was like, no. You can't go unless you do this homework assignment. I said, you can't bring paper on a plane. Just before everything else. I said, well, you can't bring books on the plane. I don't even have enough room for an eraser in my book bag. How can I bring it? She said, well, if you want to go, and she was stern. She might have been Bashir's sister. They might have been related. She was stern. She hated it. I did not go any graffiti in here. So I was even an A student. I was like an A-B student. If I was an A, then she see the graffiti on it. Oh, that's a B. She hated it. But anyway, she gave me this homework assignment. And then Bashir found out about it. And so I'm sitting in the office with my principal. Knowing when I'm in the principal office, it's on some Frank, you know what you did, Frank. You know what you did, Frank. Just admit it, you know what you did. And I would be like, okay, I did skip lunch. I did skip or something like that. But this time I'm in the principal office and they're like smiling at me like I'm the best student on the planet. And they're like, Frank, come on in. I'm like, you ain't never said come in here before. I was like, okay, come on in. And we're all sitting down having a meeting. And Bashir says, well, Frank does have a homework assignment. It's from his art teacher, and he has to visit the Louvre. And she already wrote down the paper, what he needs to do when he gets there. I was like, oh, gosh, thanks, Bashir. Thank you. Thank you very much. And so make a took his home course. Chris didn't have a homework assignment. His teachers all let him just go and do his thing, my dance partner and I. So he does his thing. So we're in Paris, flying out to Paris. We're at Illustrator side into this. We fly out to Paris, fun. And while we're there, we do a TV show, which is weird because they can only speak English for like 2 seconds. That's all I heard. I didn't understand anything they were saying. Stand there. I was like, oh, okay, stand over there. Dance. And I danced. We danced. Played the music, then we danced. And then we did that TV show. Then we did another TV show. Then we did some concerts. And then next, it was like, we got there on Monday, Wednesday, and I'm like, okay, we got a break. And I'm like, yes, let's go explore. We're gonna go check out some walls, see some graffiti, or whatever, do what we're gonna do. So it was like, okay, Frank, you got your homework assignment, get to it. I'm like, wait, what time, but back in the day, I had my hair was like, I had the high top, but it was pushed back. Back in those days, I had my little high top fade and all that stuff, right? I know this is like, it's gonna get to the art later. We're gonna paint, we're gonna do all that stuff, but we got some time. Don't worry, y'all gonna have to sit back and listen to our
presentation as well, don't forget.
Yeah, we gotta go, y'all know, y'all gonna sit back and wait for a minute. We gonna get there. We're gonna get there. So I'm walking around Paris with my dance partner now. We chilling, walking around, and we're trying to figure out where this Louvre is. And we just, we just found out where the McDonald's was on the corner over there. It was some good McDonald's. Really, I don't know what kind of meat they put in their McDonald's over there. It was some good McDonald's.
That's true.
And but you had to pay for the ketchup. It was kind of weird. You had to pay extra for ketchup. I was like, this some ghetto. You gotta pay for ketchup. Ain't nobody paying for ketchup in the States. So anyway, and they put mayonnaise on fries. Who put mayonnaise on fries? Oh, okay, y'all can hear. Anyway, so mayonnaise on fries and all that stuff. So we end up asking everyone, do you know where the Louvre is at? And they're like, what? Louvre? And we're like, over there, by river. And so we're like, okay. And that doesn't sound, that's a horrible Parisian accent. I know, I'm not French, but I know it. I'm just making it up. Sorry, if you're tuning in from Paris. Like, Louvre, we don't know. We go river. And we're like, okay, we keep walking to the river. And by the time we asked the 10th person, I'm thinking the Louvre is underwater because everybody's saying the river. And I'm like, okay, apparently we must need some scuba diving gear. So this might be some fun because this might be fun today. We're gonna go underwater because it's by the river. And we don't see nothing in the river but boats. And I'm looking down, we're looking down. Is it over? You see anything? So anyway, we didn't know. No, that's a museum. We know what museums look like. This. So we're looking at the river. Then we ask somebody else, well, where's the Louvre? They said there. And then I look over there. And then you see these two big doors Huge, huge doors. And I'm gonna draw something out so you guys can get an idea of what I felt like when I walked up to the Louvre. You ready? This is Frank.
So I'm just going to say something quickly. So Frank is going to be showing us his painting, and he's going to be showing that on his iPad. So we will see him drawing. Right now, he's just going to draw quickly and show you like that.
I'm going to be an old man for a little while. I'm here with you guys till 12. So, that's why I felt saying doors. And I walked in those doors, and it was amazing. I was blown away. I saw this painting called Victory. I saw all kinds of things, and we were just blown away. We were blown away, and that's how I was influenced to really come back to the state and take painting serious. But now you get to stop looking at me, and you get to look at the presentation, and I can tell you a little more about myself. Y'all ready to go for the presentation? Let's go to the presentation.
Okay, presentation. Thanks, Frank.
Okay, you ready? You ready? Here we go. All right, and I'm going to read to you guys today too. So for you guys that are just joining me, this book that I illustrated is called Aretha Franklin, Respect and the Queen of Soul. Now, how it's made, I thought that was cute. Throw that in there. All right. So for you illustrators out there, guys, you get to learn a little bit of something, a little bit about behind is made, but we can touch this kind of stuff. So you have to introduce who you are and this kind of stuff. So here it is. This is the beginning. So we'll go to the next frame. Hey, everybody know, I'm married to Connie Morrison. We were married in 1990, and just click the next frame. You'll see me. You'll see me and Connie right there. This is her with my first child, not Reed. Look at us back in those days. I want to get down to that weight. I want to get down to that weight. One of these days, right? Now Reed's a little older. This thing has been not serious.
You look great.
I look great right there. I still got that New York. Is that New York hat on? But anyway, next frame. Now here's my kids. This is Nasir. Nasir can play the saxophone. Nasir is very musically inclined. He can play the sax. He can make music. He can play the piano. He can. This boy does animation. He can. He's amazing. He's gonna go to SAG. Now, next frame. We got, I believe. Oh, look at it. I got Nairi and TJ. Nairi and TJ, Nairi is 28, and I think TJ is 23. Don't even quote me on. I'm horrible with their ages. Don't ask me.
That's what you said.
Follow them on Instagram. You can follow all of them on Instagram. Kai's on there. Nasir's on there. Swissy guy. Nairi's on there. Nairi Morrison, and then Tyreek. Tyreek and Nairi both have their own businesses. Nairi has a company, it's called One of None. It's a clothing line. And TJ, actually, they're both skaters, and TJ has a clothing line as well, and it's called Public Transportation. I'm actually wearing his t-shirt, his shirt. Public Transportation. Then the little girl with the dog face over here is Tiffany, my beautiful Tiffany. She's 10, she'll be 10 at the end of this month. And then my wonderful genius that debates with me all the time, Naya. She's the great debater. It's right there. So these are my 5 children. Next frame.
Gorgeous. Creative, very creative.
And I'm yeah, and Connie writes children's books, and I do a lot of books with her. It's called I Got the Rhythm series, and she just branched off and do a whole nother series. Yeah, now, there we go. This is Frank Morrison. It's a little bit about my books. And a little information about myself, which I already told you guys. Here's some of the books, and here's some of the fine art. And then we go to the next one. And I was born, y'all ready? I was born 1971. I'm a 70s baby. All right? Was it that bad? Did you just go right back? I thought it was a cute pic. Thank you. Thank you. See, there I go. There I go. There I go. Little Frank, right? Shirley, Massachusetts, where I was born at. Next frame.
Adorable.
Y'all like these effects? It's straight out of the 80s, right?
Yes. Excellent.
Fort Devens, Army Base. That's where I was born at. But for all these work, I know you adults are like, see, I do this for the kids, all right? So I was born in Fort Devens, and I grew up differently. I was like an army brat. So I grew up on a base, and go to the next frames. I used to play with things like army tanks.
Wow.
Believe it or not, army tanks. So I used to play with army tanks. We used to jump on top of them and act like we were riding around. They had airplanes out there. They had all kind of guns. They had all kind of things that were like, you know, I guess it's statues. They would have it. But it snowed like crazy. It snowed like crazy in Washington, Massachusetts. And so what do you guys do in the snow? We go to the next frame. That's what I did in the snow.
Wow.
Like snow days. It would literally look like that. You're just like, what is this? What happened? It wouldn't be snowing. It'd be like apocalypse, like a snow apocalypse. You're like, what? How do you even leave out in this? It snowed more back in the 80s, unless I was just shorter. Go ahead. What's the next frame? Then I would do this snowball fight. Is that a cool? Kind of weird. We're wearing like that now. Gosh, and it's not snowing. Goodness gracious. So I would snowball fight. And then remember, you couldn't wear, see, this is for the people that didn't have money. They would understand it. So y'all just be careful. Y'all don't crack on nobody. We used to wear 3 pair of pants back in those days because, you know, you didn't have a snowsuit. You didn't have that stuff. You had to wear as many layers as possible. So that's why he's not wearing 3 pair of pants because he think he's cool and baggy. He trying to stay warm. Next frame. Look at that special effect.
And I love the mittens are attached to the jacket. That was
you have to. Yeah. And here's some of my first drawings. What do you guys think?
Oh, wow. They're very cool.
Thank you. Thank you. So kind. You're so kind. Right? And so when it was snowing outside and you couldn't go out there, and I have a crazy story. My brother and I, nice hill. And we'd go down this hill when it would snow behind our house. And it was snowing like crazy this day. And I couldn't make it up the hill. And sleds were not this light fiber optic little things that weigh like 2 pounds. Sleds back then weighed about 300 pounds. You had to pull them like this. And you was hoping you could hit some ice so it would slide. So I'm trying to pull this darn huge kebabbing up this hill and couldn't get up there. And I'm sitting there crying to the point where the tears are freezing up. And my mother said, Frank, what is wrong with you? I said, Ben won't let me follow his tracks up the hill. She said, take the street. The street was only like 3 seconds from me. And I literally did not even think about it. That's just a corny story. Sorry. Go to the next frame. So I would draw and then I would play. Now, the things I play with is kind of different. We go to the next frame. The next one, you ready to keep it going? Wow, that's nice. Look at that starburst. Just keep going. Let's keep going to the next one. Go to the next one. Also open up. Look at this effect. It's just opening up. Wow. Look at that. Yeah. Look at that. I would play with the same toys you guys are playing with right now. I play with Superman. We had this thing called, what is that up there? I think it's called, it's like Star Wars, and Matchbox cars was like, if you had Matchbox cars back then, you were saying something. And then we actually had this thing called Evel Knievel. Mm-hmm. Now, Evel Knievel was cool because you could pull that guy back, right? And then just let him zoom over and jump over anything and flip off and all that stuff. And it didn't matter. You would kill him every time. He'd jump off of bridges. He'd jump off the side. You jump him off the stairs. If that man was alive, he'd have so many lawsuits. But either way, you would jump him off.
Famous stuntman, yeah.
We used to do anything. We used to abuse Evel Knievel as the toy. Goodness. So anyway, I know he didn't want to meet any of his fans, but go ahead to the next one. Oh, look, he's going to little. See, I do this for the kids. See? Yeah. Look at that. I do a lot of school visits, y'all.
I like your special effects.
Yeah, they like that special. That's really killer for them back in the day. Yeah. And then I used to draw from comic books. Look at that. Y'all ready? It's crazy. Black Panther, right? Wolverine, the Hulk. We used to draw that stuff back in the day. And it's kind of weird because, like, as an illustrator, you get a chance to go back into those times and actually collect those toys. And people don't look at you like, you're a grown man. You're a grown blank man over here buying toys for my son. I'm over here trying to get this for me. You getting this for you? Anyway, Sorry about that. Let me get back to this. So we should draw from cartoons, and then sometimes I have this one. I love this reference. So I have this little toy here. I don't know what this is, but it actually broke. I had my daughter take it to school, and my daughter took it to school, and some little boy broke the thing. Excuse me, the darn thing. And I got so mad, I wanted to go up to that school, and but anyway, that's me being a dad. Sorry about that. Some kids be jealous of rip up stuff if they ain't got it. Anyway, go to the next frame. Look at that. Look at those special effects. Oh, woo.
How do you do that?
Oh, hey, wow. And then I used to watch cartoons. Yes, I watched Fat Albert. Yes, I did. I am proud I watched it, and we loved it. Hey, hey, hey. Now, I had other cartoons that I loved as well. Let's go to the next one. I like that Zap. I might use that in some art.
That Zap, yeah.
Yeah, that Zap is kind of hot, right? Let's go to that next. Oh, hey, hey, hey. Yeah. Oh, here we go. These are the cartoons I grew up loving. We talked about Hong Kong Phooey. You gotta have, everybody had that Mickey Mouse Club. Mickey Mouse Club. Remember when Pac-Man came out? He was kind of corny. Pac-Man was kind of corny, but we watched it because we used to play the game. Then we had Masters of the Universe, and then you had Batman, and then you guys know about Fat Albert. What's his name? The Flintstones, man. And then you know what? My favorite is G.I. Joe. I don't know how they did all that shooting and no one died. I don't know. There was a lot of shooting going on in that. A lot of shooting. I don't know how they did. But then you had this clumsy dad that couldn't get anything right. Remind me of myself sometimes. Inspector Gadget. What? And his little daughter, like my little daughters do, and my kids remind me every day to correct me all the time. That's why I feel like Inspector Gadget. Wish I could just stretch my arms out like that. And then you got Hey, Hey, Hey up there. I don't know what you guys' favorite cartoon is, but that was mine. But go ahead, and then cartoons went off at 12 o'clock. Then what happened after 12 o'clock? Let's go to the next point. 12 o'clock. Oh, we got all that moving around. Oh, gosh, Voltron came on. That was my favorite. Let's go to the next frame. Yeah, y'all know about Voltron. That was dope.
Sesame Street.
Oh, and then I used to watch, my bad. How could I not mention Sesame Street, right? How could you not mention Sesame Street? We all grew up with it, right? We all grew up watching it. Kermit, that Oscar, Oscar made it good to keep your room dirty, didn't it? He was like, well, Oscar is on television and he's the dirtiest person on the planet. If it wasn't okay, how could he be on TV promoting filth and then you complain about my room, Ma? So, and I don't know who didn't know how to count after watching Count, and who didn't want a cookie after watching Cookie Monster, right? Yes. And I used to have an afro like that. No, I never had an afro. My hair was silky long. I couldn't get up. No, I'm joking. Go ahead. Let's go to the next frame.
Well, we know.
Then we used to watch. Y'all ready? Shout out to my buddy Todd White, my man Todd. He's a creator of SpongeBob. Really cool guy too. Really cool guy. But he created him. It was like his drawings that made him. But we used to do karate. And that used to come on after cartoons went off and everything's on. It's around 12 o'clock. And it would be the Saturday drive-in movie. It would come on around 12 o'clock and it'd be on Channel 5. And then you got to see things like the 5 Deadly Venom, the Iron Fist. Remember 5 Deadly Venoms though? The guy that knew all the styles could beat everybody. And that's kind of like, I was like, wow, this guy. So we used to go outside, literally in our backyard, and break sticks down and create little swords and go outside and then hang on trees and all that kind of stuff. It was something else back then. Go ahead to the next one. Earlier breakdance, with breaking dancing and all that kind of stuff, and the best movies back in those days was Beach Street, and then we used to watch Wild Style, was the graffiti movie. If you really was into hip hop, you could get that Wild Style. And then we had remember that one? It was called, I think, what's his name? Ozone passed away. Rest in peace to him. What was that name? I forgot the other movie that was out, but it wasn't as good as Beach Street. Let's go to the next frame. And I used to break dance back then. Yeah, as I told y'all earlier, for those that missed it. Now let's get to the break dancing. And we used to break dance with this guy. No, I'm joking. But go ahead to the next frame. And this is something that, oh, there it is. Breakdance was a movie. I think it was called Breaking. But then we had Graffiti Rock. Let's go to the next frame. Then you got that Beach Street. Look how dope that looks.
Yeah.
Look how dope that looks, right? Yeah, yeah. That's crazy. All right, let's go to the next frame. Oh, here it is. Y'all ready? Y'all ready? I wish I had some Aretha to play while we do this, but either way, we're back to why we're here today, family. We're here to talk about the Queen of Soul, Aretha Franklin, and how I illustrated this book. This wonderful book written by Carol Weatherford, Boston Weatherford, a Newbery winner at that. She just won. Isn't she something? Isn't she special? I mean, great. I love working with Carol because it's like, you know, she gives you these stories. It's just amazing, and you're like, they're rhythmic, and I try to think I'm rhythmic as well. So anyway, we're going to go into what we're going to do is I'm going to read to you guys while we'll show you the sketches, and then we'll show you the final art. The sketches it took to get to the final art. And you guys can see something that you never get to see before. Look at the cover sketch I sent to my wonderful editor, Rika. And then I gotta give a shout out to my wonderful agent, Lori and Claire, and the team over there at Painted Words. What's up, y'all? What's up? So let's go. Let's go to the first page. All right. This is actually look at that. Who did that? Who did that? I did that. Get out of here. Look at there. That's the Aretha. That's both the, you know, I painted the cover, right? And they were like, well, how about you do a back cover? And so that's why you have the second piece. That's why it's not connected. And those originals are done in oil paint, and they're about, I think they're like 20 by 20 or something like that, 24 by 24. Let's go to the next page. Oh, so when you start getting a picture book, this is what you do. You have to grab all the resources you can, all the photos. You can keep going as I talk. You have to grab all the photos you can. So I had to grab all the photos of Aretha that I went online, and then she changed. Her look
with each decade.
So she went from, you know, kind of, what the change was her eyes. But keep going. And then look at that. That side profile, look at her there. She like she could cook. She looked like she could. I'm sorry. Go ahead. Keep going. And we get to this page. Now, it's weird because what's wrong with this page, you guys? Any artist would tell you. What's wrong with this page? I can't hear you. I guess I'm not going to hear you either. Either way, what's wrong with this page is I'm missing one pole. The pole, look at the girl hiding. Let's go to the next page. Now, we fix it in the book. Now, this is the queen. This is the girl with the covers. She's checking everything out, reading with respect. I thought this was cool because I have that little, remember that thing you used to put on your records back in the day? I forgot what that little thing to hold it when it was so I have them holding that. Then I have the photo of, you know, paintings and the respect over there. I thought that was cute. She wrote respect and had a little queen singing. Let's go to the next page. Here it is, respect. You know what? On my to make that first page on, because I try to make that like the standard, and I try to make each page better after that. So I got to this Cadillac, right? So I had to Google Pink Cadillac because I'm thinking Pink Cadillac is something that was in the song. I remember the music. I remember dancing to it. What is it? I can't remember. I can't dance even that much. But go ahead. Let's go to it. Now we see that. Now there it is. Look at that. Let's go back to the sketch. Now let's go back to that. Look at that special effect. Isn't that something?
Fantastic.
Right? I'm corny like that. Go ahead. So that's the first page of the book. All right, so let's go to the next. All right. Okay. Here we go, y'all. Blessed, cradled by the church, rocked by the ebony sea. Listen, the ebony sea. Aretha says a little prayer each night on bended knee.
So good.
The final art. Look at that. Let's go to the next page. All right, let's go. Now, Detroit moves up north from Memphis, Tennessee. They put down roots and rised up like a mighty tree. Wow, put down roots and rised up like a mighty tree. Look at that. Wow, music. Now, who don't dance? Let's go to this next one. who doesn't dance with their family? I mean, who doesn't dance with their family? I mean, we wake up in the morning. I can sing when I'm by myself and I'm in the shower. That's, my family says, and I don't believe them. I believe I can sing. I believe I can sing. And that's the thing about singing is that it's different for everyone. So I dance better than I sing. So my kids and my wife, they don't allow me to sing with them. So I'll literally sing, but it was great to see they sing. But what they do, all right? Hands clapping gospel is Franklin's prodigy. Franklin's prodigy. Parents and children make a stern harmony. Isn't that? Let's see the original work on that. Let's go to the next one. Look at there. Look at there. Sing it. Sing it, girls. Sing. All right. Move on to the next one. Strife and Barbara Franklin can't seem to agree. They just can't seem to agree. Daddy keeps 4 children when mama decides to flee. Hey, everybody relationship ain't perfect. Let's go to the next one. Let's see what the original looked like. Look at there. Now, I'm going to tell you who I was influenced with this painting. Anybody that knows art knows that this is a montage. This is a playing homage to one of my favorite artists that I know. His name is Richie Mayhew. Richie Mayhew years ago. And he was so generous. He walked with me for 3 days and mentored me for 3 days. And he introduced me to all kinds of galleries and all these, and he gave me such great advice. And I was like a hip hop, like a little hip hop thug back then. And I was like, wow, he took me on. He saw worth in me. And so we walked around, we met ACA galleries, all these older galleries, man. And he really, he's like
a mentor, right?
He was a really good mentor. He really was. And so I paid homage to him in this book. And this is how he sees, literally, this is how he sees landscapes. If you guys Google him, you'll see it. He does a little more redness in his round. But I'm sorry, let's move on to the next page. Sorry, y'all. Sorry.
That's good to hear about that. Thank you.
Oh, look at this overhead view.
Yeah, amazing view.
Gifted. What? Aretha Young, gifted in black. Hears melodies. Then by ear plays the tune. Oh, girl, my son. Let's see the next page. Oh, look at there. It's a big difference between the sketch and the painting, isn't it? And this is if for the fine artist, this is a perspective we do a lot anyway. You try to give a different perspective of playing piano. We've seen people playing piano all day. And so you just try to give your own unique view of it. And I think an overhead view is like a God's eye view. So it's a gift. So that's why I gave her this God's eye view on it. Let's move to the next page. Example. Uh-oh. Example. Her preacher father fights for the rights in his community. He's fighting for the rights. Other leaders visit to voice their common plea. Now, we'll go to the original. Let's go to the painting. Now, can anyone pick out anybody important other than her?
Let's see if anyone's going to write it in the chat. Anyone recognize someone in there?
Anybody recognize anyone? Of course not. Too late. You're too late. Too late. Forget it. Now, the artist that I like in here, one is the guy right next to the window. He's Harry Belafonte. Harry Belafonte was, oh my gosh, he was so important in the civil rights movement. He played such an important role, right? And then the other artist, I'm going to run and grab a book. You guys hold on for 1 second. I'll be right back.
Okay. Yes.
All day anyway.
So we are getting some audience members are typing in Martin Luther King. So they are spotting famous civil rights. So
any artists, that was quick, right? I went to the store and came back. Y'all want anything? I'm sorry, I didn't ask you guys want anything. Let's grab something, came right back. So the other artist is
the
guy sitting like this. Yeah.
Could you repeat? Sorry, could you repeat that, Frank? Because sometimes you're glitching a little tiny bit.
I can't. I'm not going to repeat anything.
Sorry, everybody.
Charles White. my man Charles White. And anyone knows about Charles White. First of all, this book came, anybody knows Charles. You got to know about Charles White. You got to know. This guy was Images of Dignity. This book here is a rare find. Rare find right here. So this is my Charles White. And this is me paying homage to Charles White. So I put him in the book. So next page. Oh, she's singing. All right, what page are we on? I'm sorry. Talent. Okay. Talent. Aretha soars with artistry. Her preacher father sense her daughter's destiny.
That's
Gosh, isn't that wonderful?
Oh yeah.
Next page. There she goes. And then here's the next page. Let's go to the next one. All right. Debut. Here she goes. Debut at 14. Dang. 14. American Idol ain't nothing on her. 14. Recording live. Aretha's nervous as can be. Her first album gospel branching from her family tree. Let's see what it looked like. Look at her. Look at her. Regal, singing it. Queen of Soul. Let's go to the next one. Voices. The voice. Aretha range, you can move to the next one. Aretha's range stretched from G to E, G2 to E3, spanning 4 octaves. The maestro to sleep. Wow. Let's go. Boy, we got groove. Let's go to the next one. Groove. Aretha finds her groove when she's rocking R&B. She done went from that church to that R&B. Okay. All right. Rocking that R&B. No woman of her time has more toppers than she. Okay, let's see her grooving.
Wow.
Look at that. Anybody knows me, I gotta have that movement. Look at
that movement, I know.
Gotta have that movement. You gotta have that movement. Gotta have it, right? Let's go to the next one. Right. Sounds civil. Civil rights, y'all. Y'all ready? Black History Month. Hey. All right. For the civil rights movement, and let's move to the next one. For the civil rights movement and the radical equality, Aretha raised funds to give concerts for free. Look at there. Now, can you guys check out? Do you guys recognize any?
Oh yeah. Lots.
Martin and Coretta. We went once again. We have Harry Belafonte, and then we have John Lewis back there, and then we also had Sidney Poitier. Why would we not?
Yeah, we're getting them all typed in. People are recognizing everybody.
There we go. Welcome to, what is it called? What is the movie that Sidney Poitier had? Welcome to Dinner or Welcome to Dinner? Was that the one he had? Oh goodness. But either way, we'll go to the next one. Right. All right. Let's go to, I think I read this page already. Let's go to the next one. Great.
Oh, guess who's coming to dinner?
Guess who's coming to dinner. Thank you.
Thank you.
There we go. Love that one. My gosh. All right. Great. Let's see. Someday we will be free. Let's go to the next one. Great. There we are. Great. Aretha. The next frame. Aretha's crown is Queen of Soul. On royalty, she collects awards and more than 1 degree. There we go. Wow. All right. Let's go to the next one. Proud. Okay, y'all ready? Now get y'all Barack on. You gotta get our Barack on again.
Yeah.
All right. Now,
you really see the movement of how you switch and
isn't it crazy? Because the next page is not gonna look like this. Actually, I'm gonna do a shout out to Kevin Wack, because Kevin, I knocked this one off of you, Kev. Thanks, bro. Yo, so here we go. Proud. When the first Black president is sworn into history. Let's go to it.
Yeah, it's completely.
The queen rejoices. My country, 'tis a thee. Okay, anyway, let's go to it. Sweet Land of Liberty. Sweet Land of Liberty. I can't sing. I think I can. Yeah, y'all can put it in the chat if I can. All right, let's go to the next one.
Good, right, everyone?
That's good enough. Sweet Land of Liberty. Anyway, there we go. Let me try to put all nationalities in there. Then here we go to the next one. Oh, hold on, let's go back to that page. Now, I don't know if y'all remember what happened on the 6th of last month. This is how you're supposed to go to the Capitol building in peace. They're not protesting, running up there, breaking into the building and all that stuff. I'm sorry if you were there, and I don't want to offend you, but this is not, this, goodness, great. Wasn't that some stuff? I'm sorry, go to the next one. I'm sorry. The country rejoices. Humble, the queen tours in the queendom from sea to shining sea, but at home, she on to earth, called Riri, still called Riri. Humble. Let's see what this picture looks like. This is cool. Anybody up in Harlem? Shout out to Harlem. Shout out to Harlem. Y'all already know. Y'all know. Apollo. What? And I got the. She got a fur coat on, like in the '70s. You know, like the black exploitation movie. Got the afro going on and the whole nine. You know, just getting it in, walking in. I'm sorry. Keep going to the next one. Respect. Now, if you can tell from the beginning of the story to right now, Aretha went through some changes. She went through some changes. You know, she got older. She went through some changes. And so this next drawing right here is the last drawing that I have of Aretha right here. It's a painting coming up. All right, respect. The Queen of Soul has blessed us with a golden legacy, but she would probably call it a gift that God gave me. Ain't that special? Let's repeat that. A gift. The gift that God gave me.
It's true.
Look at that.
Beautiful.
Ain't God something? Ain't something? I'm sorry, we're not gonna preach. All right. Amen. Amen. There it is. There it is. Let's see what we can end it with.
Frank, thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. You're so welcome. Thanks for having me. All right, I'll see you guys later. Is there more?
Oh, no, you don't get off so quickly. Now we want to see you do some painting. How does he do it all?
Now you want to see how I do it, huh? Yeah.
See how you do it.
You're gonna see
everybody, ask questions in the chat. If you have any questions for Frank, I will field your questions, and he's going to now turn to his iPad so that he can point it towards the area where he's going to do some painting.
Right. You guys are ready? I'm gonna get up again. Get up again, this old man. Let's paint. There it is. Let's paint.
One quick repeat question, because there were tiny bits of glitches here and there, so we didn't always catch 100% some things, but you mentioned a mentor, Richie. What was Richie's last name?
Richie who? Mayhew?
Oh, Mayhew.
It's definitely not Richard Beaver's. I mean, it's definitely not Richard Beaver's gallery. Definitely not that. There's a painter behind. I'm trying to get rid of that guy. What's up, Gene? What's up, Gene? The guy that I think he's probably on here. The guy that did what's the name of that book? I think it's George Washington Carver. What's up, Gene? What's going on? I know you're there somewhere.
He's there somewhere. Let's see who's here.
I'm gonna dance my way over to this canvas right over here, and I'm gonna take this one down. All right?
Okay, perfect.
I'm looking at my butt. All right. Move this over here. All right, now y'all see it?
Yeah, we see it. We see the corner of your studio.
I'm gonna take this down. Now, I'm not that tall, so I'm just gonna lift this up over here. We're gonna take this canvas prop the hang All right. This is a part of the studio life. You gotta do a lot of work around. All right. Put this over here. And we're gonna start painting. Now I'm not Bob Ross because I don't have an afro. I don't have an afro, so I'm not Bob Ross. All right. So.
You're not Bob Ross. Frank, I was just gonna say, so for everybody who's following along, and you may have some blank paper and some drawing materials, or even your paints out, you may have printed up the coloring pages that were found on the registration page. So you can just have a go at some of the techniques, just in your own way, just see how Frank's doing things. But, you know, he's showing you how to do some lettering and how to do some painting of people. You just have a little go yourselves, and whatever inspires you. We're just here to be inspired by Frank. He's the most awesome artist. It's a treat to be here. Actually, Stephanie's asking, do you think writing graffiti helped make your art become so vibrant and rhythmic, Frank? That's a good question, right? I think she's nailed it.
No, it's a horrible question, and the answer is no, absolutely not.
That's not, yeah. It was the snow days that inspired you.
Snow, that's snow out there. Of course, graffiti inspired me. Graffiti inspired me because what happens with graffiti is that you're working, like, I wanted to find a style that matched my personality. And I think that's what everyone is looking for in life. You have to have a style. I like this. Got my back of my neck, got my back of my neck, and the front of my neck. Look at this. Look at this. I'm here, I'm not there. So you can graffiti. I needed to do graffiti was a part of my life, and what I did is I wanted to merge graffiti and my fine art together, and that's why I get like the elongated figures and that kind of stuff, because you're elongating the letters in the graffiti language. So what I like to do, like I have this picture right here. Let me see if I can pull this up. Let me see if I can find some graffiti styles or something like that. Well, let's put this one out. Show this one. You guys hear all that rumbling? Y'all hear that rumbling and all that? This is me in my studio. So this painting right here, let me turn it this way. You guys can see it? So this painting right here, right? So we have graffiti on top, right? We have all this atmosphere. This reminds me of something like the streets and how the walls are on the streets and it's not clean. I used to go to right, all this work. So this reminds me of the feel of the tunnel. It's really, can you guys feel that? You guys can feel that right over there? Can you feel that? So it's like you get this cold. You get, okay, I'm going to stop. Because you're going to interrupt me. I'm just going to stop. So I'm going to start painting this picture. Now, this little girl, I painted her a couple of years ago. Maybe about, I don't know, 2017, I painted her, right? And I want to repaint her because I'm thinking, you know what? I want to do something different. I want to see it looking different. So first thing I'm going to do is this. You guys ready? First thing I'm going to do is this. All right? All right, and the second thing I'm gonna do is that you gotta have your tops. You gotta have your tops, guys. Your tops are your caps. Your tops are your caps. You gotta make sure they work too. Now I don't have my new caps with me. I just did a wall the other day with my man Poe, and I gave him all my tops. So I go like this, right? Go over there. Now that's pink. Go over here. Yeah, okay. All right. You guys still with me?
Yeah, it's like magic.
All right. How much time we got? We're here to 12?
Yeah, we've got about 25 more minutes. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. All right. So I gotta go fast, y'all. I gotta go fast. I'm sorry. Goodness, I'm sorry. I know you guys are tired of me. All right. So
no,
what I do?
Amazing. Thank you so much.
I'll try to paint this as fast as possible now. So I'm going to be quiet, paint. I'm going to turn some music up. If you guys have questions, go ahead and ask me some questions. But I'm going to start dancing. Can you guys hear that background music?
Oh, yeah, you do your thing.
I'll do my thing over here, all right? All right, now I'm working in oil. Now I'll post this later when I'm done.
Yes.
When it's done, I'll post it on my social media. All right?
Oh.
I'll change the background.
So what kind of paint are you using?
Oil paint.
Oil paint, everybody, just in case you're all wondering because you can't see the palette. Yeah. A lot of you who are Frank fans will already know he paints with oils, but just for those who may be joining us who have questions about materials. Do you always listen to music, Frank, when you're painting?
Who doesn't?
Yeah, who doesn't? Well, for you, it would definitely be important. It helps with all that movement.
Hey, guys, what the heck? Listen to all. I listen to everything. I listen to all. Sometimes you'll catch me listening to like Mozart. I love classical music too.
Does that depend on what time of the day it is? Do you work quite late sometimes? Like
I'm always working. And when am I not working?
When are you not working? Right, you're an artist.
I'm a workaholic.
Workaholic. Well, yeah, you are, because I mean, when you see a book that's got 32 pages of illustrations, and Frank's doing all of those paintings as oil paintings on canvas, and oil does take a little while to dry, doesn't it, Frank? So do you have a technique for speeding that up? Do you use a hairdryer or anything?
A hairdryer? No, I use a lot of there's some mediums that I put in, like quick dry mediums that I put in the painting.
Okay.
That helps dry it. That helps dry it out and that kind of stuff.
So I think you started with watercolors, didn't you, when you very first started?
Yeah, I was broke. I had no money, so I started with watercolors.
Expensive, that's true.
But yeah, I was really broke. I had no money, so I had to start with watercolors. It was like you can get as much out of that piece of paper as possible. Yeah, so I started with watercolor. Then I graduated to acrylics. I graduated acrylics and I started painting oils. I've been painting oils for about 10 years.
Okay. Yeah. So I hope that's answering some questions that are in our chat. So Stephanie was asking about paintings having mixed media. You don't really mix your media within one painting though, do you?
Didn't I just do that? No, I'm joking. I did the spray paint one time.
You did just do that. Yes, of course you did, because you use spray cans. But do you often do that then? Use spray cans and
yeah, I do. Like this painting right here. This is look at this one. This is a good one here. This is my Pinocchio. This is my interpretation of Pinocchio, right? And that's this is all mixed media. So I have oil. I have acrylics, I have spray paint, I have everything incorporated in here. And then I love to build up this texture. So then I'll take found objects and I'll just throw them on there, like sheets of paper, rocks. I'll throw everything on these paintings here. Yes. And these are huge. And I love getting that whole rustic and bring it down. Even I can go back in here right now and just touch it right there. Right? I'll tag you guys' name. You guys, I tag your name up here. SOI, Society of Illustrators.
Yeah.
I just hooked you guys up.
I love how Pinocchio is interpreted with the trombone, because that you do that, so his nose was growing.
There you go. Oh, wow, I didn't catch that. Wow.
Yeah, well, that was just for our younger audience. You didn't know that, Frank. I didn't want to.
So yeah. Then you gotta, if you listen to this, I don't know if you guys can hear the music, but you gotta be able to dance. If you don't have, I have to put the same movement into this. So
yes.
Every once in a while, if I'm feeling it, I just go and get my little dance on.
I want to dance with you. Leah is asking, what is your favorite thing to paint? Do you like people? What is your favorite subject?
I don't have one. I like rustic things, so it's not a particular. Like I'll paint this style, and it's kind of more. It's more realistic paint. We have one. I don't have any kind of whatever comes to my mind. Like the title of this picture.
Okay.
The title of this picture is.
Well, that keeps it fresh.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
That keeps it fresh for you, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, you were going to say the title of this piece was? Oh, sorry.
It's going to be called "Don't Be Just."
Don't be just.
Yeah. Don't be just a carpenter. Don't be just a teacher. Don't just be the greatest at it. Don't
be the best you can be. Yeah, be the best you can be. Yeah.
Don't be just. Don't settle.
Yeah. That's a really good message. And, you know, during this pandemic, we can sort of practice some things with our drawing and painting because, you know, we've got more time indoors. And it's a good time to be drawing, everybody. Drawing, painting.
It really
doing your illustrations, creating your style. Like,
that book on the little skateboarder that I gave you guys. That's actually a picture book. It's my first picture book, and so far it's called Kick Push, and that comes out next year. That's
great!
That little boy that moves into a neighborhood that skates.
You update everything on your website. So if you go to Frank's website, you'll see all his books, his past books, his current books, books that are coming soon. So Frank, you know, he does a lot of books with different publishers, different authors. As he mentioned before, he does books with his wife, Connie. So you can find out a lot more on Frank's website, which we will type into the chat just so you can easily link it. There it is. Thanks, Katie, behind the scenes.
I wrote this one.
You wrote this one.
Yeah, I'm an author now. Hi.
Of course. It's about time, right? Author, illustrator, Frank Morrison. Yes.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. So I joined the ranks of my buddies out there, Dear and Brian. I am now an official writer as well.
Did you have fun with that? Doing the writing and the illustrations?
No.
No? You never know with Frank whether he's just joking.
Nothing fun about writing. It's horrible. It's I learned it.
We'll see if you do more though. If you're tempted to do more, we know that you're really enjoying it.
Yeah, well, you know, with painting, like I know, you know, there's certain things that you know people enjoy. You know, certain colors that go together. Like if I put this color over here, AKAs will love it because it's pink and green. And they'll be like, oh wow, there's something about it I love. So you get to, as an artist, when you paint, you know what to look for. But to balance it, I got to put my red so a Delta could like it. And I have to have my colors from Zetas in there and all that. So it can represent everybody. If you go with one color, but when you're writing, I don't know what people and from with my perspective. So it's kind of tough in that sense because you don't really have a gauge on how people enjoy your artistry. And so that's what it feels like as an artist, as a writer, putting stuff out there. I'm still kind of like nervous and shy because you're like, you can easily be like, hey, you know what, Frank, we read your book and we hate it. That was in your head? You were thinking that? Really?
You have some harsh critics if they say that.
I have some none of my friends like me. None of my friends.
Well, your editor is obviously
the worst friends ever. They're the worst friends. And we want to call them friends. Just telling them that yesterday. They hang up on me. Oh gosh. Friends are horrible.
Did you write it in rhyme by any chance, or?
Because I'm black? No, I'm.
The movement.
No, I ain't writing in no rhyme. No.
Okay. Rhyme's not so easy to write, actually. I mean, obviously, Carol is an expert at it. But, yeah, writing in rhyme can be...
I tried to write... I tried to write in rhyme, and then they said, stop that.
Yeah, they often say stop that, don't they?
I don't know what this was, but stop it. Stop it. Don't do that anymore. I do have a rhyme that I wrote, that my brother wrote back in the day, and some kind of rap he wrote, and then but that's about all the rhyme that I can do. I'll leave it to the rap.
Yeah. Okay.
So I'm getting rid of the background. You guys clapping in here? Getting rid of the background. All right. Now I'm gonna go over here with my big brush. I'm over here, my big brush. You guys see that big brush?
Oh, the big brush is coming out.
Big brush.
So everybody, if you're doing some of this sort of graffiti kind of shapes and colors behind the drawings that Frank kindly did for some coloring pages, you can share those with us. Please do send them in. We'd love to see what you do. We're going to type in where to send it. That's to my name at societyofillustrators.org. So it's Claire at societyofillustrators.org. And so we always love to see what inspires you from our Saturday Stories featured illustrators. And you may be continuing to be inspired all weekend by Frank, because we've just learned so much. And we know that he's like a very, very creative person when it comes to this mixed media that he's done. You're brushing it out now, I see.
Mm-hmm.
So you're softening it, and then, okay.
And everything I'm doing is probably wrong. I wouldn't advise anyone to do what I'm doing, because I have no idea what I'm doing. It's taking a lot of chances.
It's like a recipe. You keep adding to it. Your own.
You gotta do little things like, did y'all hear that? Drop something. You gotta do little things like put some tags in there. Yo, and shout out to PFB.
A shout out to who? Sorry.
I did the shout out already? Sorry.
No, you glitched slightly, so we didn't catch who you were shouting out.
Oh, to my my graffiti brothers out there. I want to say.
Oh.
Yeah, to all those guys.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
And you may want to speak to the idea of perhaps kids shouldn't be spray painting in their house.
What do you mean?
Were you allowed to when you were a kid? Did your mom let you do some spray painting in your bedroom?
I'm black. Ain't nobody black mom letting them spray paint in no bedroom. What, are you kidding me? No, I didn't spray paint in my bedroom. I used to write on the walls though. I did used to write on the walls, but I also have a fan here. You guys ready? I turn my little fan on.
Yeah, you need a bit of air because it smells strong.
My circulation, and then my studio is pretty open. I'm gonna turn it up. See, it's an open studio.
Yes, very good for everyone to see that it's a big open space. Yeah, circulating the air.
The artist, but thank goodness I'm the only one here. Because of COVID, no one comes in, so I feel safe now. Then I have Lysol.
Oh yes, to get rid of this.
Never get too much of that. Never get too much of that, right?
So that does kill it.
All right, and so I'm adding and taking away. Now I gotta do some letters in the background of this.
Yeah, we got about. I'll just give you a time check. We got about 15 or so minutes. We can run a little bit over. It's fine.
A little over? Okay.
We can go a little bit over.
I write Q, so I'm going to go ahead and put. This is my Q. Okay, you see that's the Q. Believe it or not, that is a Q. Alright? This is the U. Let's get an arrow coming off of that. Put an arrow. There we go. An arrow up there. Let's grab it. This guy named Timo in my crew and Pro, and all these guys are like, man, he's Tom and all these guys and Cobra, all these guys, and one of these guys named Webb. They're like the baddest writers on the planet. I just try to be like them sometimes. And that's all these guys. So I'm a student of those guys, to be honest. I'm glad I'm in these schools. We learn so much about style.
Yeah.
Bro, when we work with these guys, man. You know, I'm sorry to anyone I didn't shout out in those schools, Art Child, all these guys. But yeah. But I'll put a faint looking graffiti in the background. This is what I don't want to take away from her, right? You know, put my right. Then it's about, because if you watch, anyone that watches let's say Andy Warhol, it's like a war that you're having against the canvas. So there's nothing like, oh, that's nice. You like that? Look at that.
Oh, yeah.
Like it's really thick on there, right? Oh, look at that. So look at that gunk going on. Look at that gunk.
Oh, wow.
Right? Look at that gunk going on over there, right? Things.
So yeah,
nothing permanent. Nothing permanent. Get rid of all that stuff. Put it on there. Get rid of it. Then take a little roller if we want. Take a little roller. See a little roller? Huh? We rolling, y'all.
You're rolling.
We're rolling. Just do whatever you want to do. Really. Just get in there. See, it really doesn't matter about her because I'm going to go over her anyway.
It looks really fun. You can't use.
This is horrible. There's no fun in this. There's no fun in this at all.
There's no fun in art.
There's no fun in this.
I was going to say that kids could use acrylic paint. It's a water-based paint, but it has, it's a thicker texture, as Frank said, that he used that before he moved into oil paints. So acrylic paints or poster paints, they have like a nice consistency. You could paint that on. You could use rollers with it as well.
Mm-hmm. You throw anything in it. It's a collage. Like I have this right here. I'm just going to pull this off. And if I wanted to, I'll just stick this right here, right? But I would put enough medium on top of it so it would stay on there. Really, it's not going to stick because it's got the oil base behind it. So I'd have to put a lot of heavy medium. So you can mix it up and put whatever you want. Then you can actually add Pet Pig to it as well if you want to. If you wanted to add her. This is right now, this is my favorite cartoon. I don't know what it is about this damn cartoon that I love so much. I love this cartoon. It's the cutest thing. I'm sorry, I have to say it. So I have her and a friend here.
I'm sure a lot of our audience recognize those.
I don't care. If you judge me if you want to. I could care less.
You like everything. It's good.
When you grow up with 5 kids in the house, you're going to find a cartoon. You're going to find a cartoon. Trust me. I've been watching cartoons for I don't know how many years. I don't know how many years.
You never stopped. You went from being a kid watching cartoons straight in.
You never stopped. I'm Nickelodeon. What? Okay.
Yeah.
Network. Yeah. So we have that going on there, right? How many more minutes do we have? Do we have any more questions?
Yes. Do ask more questions. We'd love to see what you're working on as well.
What I'm working on? Okay.
And you're working on your new book, right?
Oh, the new book. I can't show you guys.
No,
I can't show it. Top secret stuff.
Top secret.
Top secret. Top secret. Sorry. And every once in a while, I'll use my Neil right here. Like right here when I get the detail. You gotta have this. You gotta have this. You know what I'm saying?
What is that? Oops, you froze. Frank, you froze. Okay.
Yeah, I froze it. Back up?
Yeah, you're back in. Yeah.
All right. So here's some highlights in here with her.
So you're using what looks like a very long drumstick to sort of rest your hand on.
Yes. So you don't get it all over your sleeve.
Yeah, that's a very clever technique.
Yeah.
So that's great for wet paint. If you're working over wet paint, you could use an idea like that.
Yeah.
But is that a really long drumstick or is that an actual tool for artists? It looks really long.
It's actually eating away because my dog, Zoe, ate the tip of this. But it usually would have a piece of leather. He bit the leather off and started eating the tip of this. So I'll use this. Then I have this one here. So if I'm working on larger paintings, I have this one, this one. So this
so this is an artist's tool. I have not come across that myself because I don't work in oil paints. So how big are the original sketches and paintings that go into your book, Respect? Timothy is asking. He's one of our...
I don't have the sketches for Respect here.
Right.
But I do have them for a book I did that was pretty cool. I have it for, look at that, George Washington Carver.
Oh.
So it's kind of weird. I'll go out and I'll buy these little neat little books, like this, and I'll start illustrating. I'll start all my thumbnails or my final drawings I put in here. So this is how big they are. So this is George.
Oh, yeah, it's wonderful.
Can you see it over here? All right, so this is how. So the sketches aren't that big.
Yeah.
And I do it, right? Look at this one. I had put this online the other day.
Wow. Cool. Even your sketches look like you don't make any mistakes, and it's just like really good.
Believe it or not, I drew this one when I was in the hospital. I had.
Say that again, Frank.
Something wrong on my gallstones. So I was in the hospital. Huh?
When were you in the hospital? Sorry, you went out for a second.
Oh, yeah. I had gallstones, and so I drew this while I was in the hospital.
Painful. I'm sorry to hear that.
I couldn't go to sleep, so I just said those things. So this one, and then believe it or not, here's something else you guys may not know. Guess what? I'm drawing with one eye. So I've been painting for the past year and a half with one eye. This eye right here, I have to get a cornea replaced. So I can't see anything out of this eye. Everything is just blurry.
You were
So,
kidding.
no, so for about a year, because of COVID, I couldn't get my cornea replaced. And so I have to wait until I feel safe enough to go back to the hospital.
That's
So
true. That's true.
So these paintings don't look right because I'm only using one eye. So don't judge me.
Excuses, Frank.
Yeah, so that's my grand excuse.
That's your big
Grand
excuse.
So,
well, you're actually your good eye is going to people really know Frank know when he's joking and when he's not joking.
Oh, okay. Then I put the number. No, I'm serious about the eye though.
Yeah, no, well.
You'll see this in my work. You guys ready? You'll see this a lot in my work. And that is what? The number what? The number 5. I feel like I'm in.
Five. 5 for 5 children?
No.
No.
No, it's number 5 because my grandfather had a construction business, and someone sabotaged it and he died. They sabotaged the machine and he died. He died from blood clots. And but he had escaped from, and I say escaped, he escaped from the South to make it up north because he got into an altercation with the Ku Klux Klan.
What a story.
He fought what happened. He had to run for his life, and they brought him up north to New York. So he was in Brooklyn. And when he met my grandmother, they moved to New Jersey, and they built their own house. He opened his own construction business. And they were like the richest family on the block, but he died. And then I found out like not too long ago, a couple of years ago, that he only made it to the 5th grade. And so, but from a 5th grade education, he became one of the richest people on my block. He had his own business. He was doing extremely well. And so every time you see the number 5 in my artwork, which I try to throw it in there all the time, it's a montage to my grandma.
Oh, wow.
So there's the 5.
You know what,
5 over there. I put a 5 everywhere. So give me 5. Give me 5. Give me 5.
5. Oh, yeah. Oh, grandfather. What was your grandfather's name, Frank?
His name was Frank.
Oh, his name. Oh, you're named after him. Oh.
I'm actually Frank III. And it's kind of weird. All the Franks in my family are entrepreneurs.
Wow. Wow. That's amazing.
My uncle was an entrepreneur, and now all my kids are. They all have their own businesses. Yeah.
Yes, yeah. Well, that's, you know what, your grandfather, he led the way. I mean, that could be a movie, Frank. Honestly, that's an unbelievable story.
Yeah.
Unbelievable story. You know, the true stories are the most unbelievable. You know, it's like.
Are you saying unbelievable like I'm lying?
Oh no, it's British. It means like I'm like it's outstandingly amazing. Okay. So Lisa Sinelli, who's in our audience today, she's another artist illustrator. She's telling me that the stick you're using is called a marl stick, just because I didn't know that. So thank you for telling me that. A marl stick.
Stick.
Yeah, I call it a stick, but it has a professional name. So there we go. Any other questions, everybody? Because we're getting close. Frank, give me an idea about how many more minutes you'd like to go so I can let Katie behind the scenes know. Do you think you
when the questions start, I'm fine. I'll be painting this for the rest of the day. I have to change the whole uniform out. I gotta change everything over here. Yeah.
Well, and for your painting that you're doing now, could you work on it for like another 10 minutes?
Sure, I can work on this. Well, I could I'm gonna change her outfit. So right now I'm just putting the background down. So
maybe get to painting her outfit, and we'll run over if this is okay with everybody for 10 more minutes because it's already noon. But you know what, we're with the master here, and we've learned so much. Frank, thank you so much for bringing us into your studio.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me ruin your Saturday stories. I appreciate that. Appreciate you guys giving me that.
The only way you've ruined it is because you've inspired everybody, and now they're going to have to get to working on art all weekend. That's what they're going to be doing. They're going to be buying paint and painting graffiti.
Frank says spray paint. Frank says spray paint.
So Kristen, one of our attendees, says, "What an amazing gift to hear Frank talk." Thank you. And she's speaking for us all. It is a gift. Thank you Frank for.
Yeah, really? Really?
Yeah, it is.
Well, and the other thing I put on my art, and this is something else you guys can see. Whenever I sign it, I do something like this. I'll put it up here. TTG. And that means thanks to God.
God.
I put
Yes.
it on all my, that's a part of my signatures on everything I think.
Yes, I know you're, yes.
Yeah.
So really, you do use all of your talents, mind, body, and spirit. You really do. I mean,
I don't know about all that. I get drunk.
yeah, the movement, the singing, the painting.
Most
Well, here we got some questions, and another thank you from Timothy, who's thanking you so much for sharing your life and your art with everybody. And Angie is asking, how do you decide which illustrations go on each page of your book? So obviously that's why you do all the sketches, to figure that out. But
I don't have that choice. The editor has that choice. I just draw what comes to mind. If it's a little girl, let's say two things that I would give advice to illustrators. You're going to be working on this book it's going to be a part of your life for maybe 2 to 3 months, right? Sometimes it takes me to illustrate a book, which no one asks how long it takes to illustrate a book.
yeah, how long does it take to illustrate a book, Frank?
How long? Thank you. Goodness. It takes me about, I don't know. I don't want to tell you.
Does it change? It depends.
You think that? Get them out, get them in, check, give me that, But no, it takes me like 3 to 4 months. I like to take at least a month, 2 months to paint, 1 month to draw it, and 2 months to paint it. And then I'll schedule it in. Like I'll do one painting I'll get one painting completed every 2 days. Every 2 days I work on a piece. That gives me like 2 to 3 days. That's a lot, yeah. So I'll get that done.
You are prolific.
And then when I'm done, what I like to do is I go back to the paint and I take this little sticker. I put things on and make corrections on sometimes I feel like I'm rushing. But when you draw it out, you have to think about, you're gonna paint this later. Like I have a good drawing over here. Hold on 1 second.
Oh, great.
So anyway, I drew this yesterday. I did a school visit yesterday. And so we were talking about composition on a page and how sometimes people don't fill the page. And so this is my interpretation of like a jazz singer. So he's singing and he's playing
saxophone,
but he completely the page for that whole rhythmic thing going on. It's like like this. I just drew something really quick, but yeah, it gives me that whole rhythm thing. It takes the page up, maybe the text will go over here or at the bottom or something like that. But you have to make sure you enjoy it. So it's you're not drawing something that, like, if you don't like drawing, let's say for instance you don't like drawing noses. Then you got a straight on look and you're drawing the nose and you're like, oh gosh, why did I put myself in this situation when I'm drawing this nose? You have to position yourself to draw the things that you like later, okay?
Great advice, fantastic advice. Yes, so what was I just?
Did somebody ask you what kind of sneakers I like to wear?
I imagine you'd have quite a good sneaker collection, no?
I actually do. I became a sneakerhead. No, I'm joking. No, I wear the most comfortable shoes possible because I'm standing all the time. So I'll give you guys a corny shot of my shoes and how I have to stand on
comfortable shoes.
Shoes to join, and and I'm corny because I'm a dad, and so I my sneakers, of course, like even though they're Nikes or whatever, my sneakers for some reason I think I'm buying them and they're gonna be worth a lot of money. They go down in value. They'll be the ones that go like, I just spent $200. They only $50 now. They go up in value.
I know sneakers can be quite collectible these days.
Yeah, crazy. Any other good questions?
I'm very sad, but I think you have 5 more minutes, Frank, if that's...
You don't want to be around me no more, huh?
We should have done 2 hours with you.
Yeah, I'm sorry. And I want to, so I take this time, 5 minutes to apologize to you guys for probably being the worst Saturday stories ever. And I'll try harder next year.
I know you're trying very hard to do that, but no, not at all. No, you've raised the bar. It's even more entertaining because you're moving around. You're been taken through your life, your early teens all the way up to now,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
all
You
the
guys have
details
learned
along the way.
so much about me. I usually don't talk to people, especially, but it's good to
Well,
see
that's true because you're in your studio, right?
all day. No
All
one talks
day.
to me. I'm like a grouch in the studio. Someone comes in like, what do you want? What do you? I'm working. How could you dare interrupt me? I'm working on
Yeah,
next.
you don't want to be interrupted when you're focusing.
But it's great to see a smiling face that I've never seen before. It's because you're in COVID. You don't get to see people smile anymore. So it's good to see you smile.
Oh, well, you bring a smile to my face, and I know that everybody in the audience is smiling too.
Oh, I hope so. I hope so. And I hope you guys enjoyed my presentation and me destroying this painting in front of you. I hope you guys enjoyed that. Now, later on, if you guys go to my social but I'll paint my way out.
Okay, thank you so much, Frank, for joining us for Saturday Stories in Black History Month, February, and your beautiful book, Respect, about an amazing woman, Aretha Franklin. So yeah, we have learned so much, and it's been a real pleasure to have a sneak preview into your life, what you do behind the scenes.
Well, that was so sweet. I wish I knew a song I could sing that I could take you guys out with. I wish I knew.
I know. Amazing Grace.
Grace, how sweet the sound.
How sweet the sound. Yeah. Well, have a blessed weekend, everybody. And we'll see you next month. And thanks, Frank, so much. See you at the Society of Illustrators one day soon in the future.
That's what's up.
All right. Care. I hope your eye gets better soon.
Stay safe.
Stay safe, everybody. Take care. Bye.